Welcome to our Language Cert Young Learners ESOL exams. Today, we'll be sharing with you useful tips that should help you prepare your learners for their OWL reading exam. First of all, a brief reminder of its key features and samples of the different parts of the OWL reading exam. The reading exam consists of 4 tasks and comprises a total of 25 items. Candidates are awarded 1 mark per correct response. They are required to provide one-word answers to the question set, answer yes/no questions, and also respond to gap-filling questions. In part 1, candidates look at a picture and say whether 6 statements provided are right or wrong. They simply need to write yes if the statements are right and no if the statements are wrong. 2 examples are provided. Part 2 requires candidates to read a short text and fill in 5 gaps by choosing the correct word. There are 3 options each single time. An example has also been provided. Part 3 requires candidates to read a short text and fill in 6 gaps. There are 2 distractors, so learners will use 6 of the 8 words provided. There's an example to guide candidates once again. In part 4, candidates look at a very short and simple story and answer 8 questions about it. They are asked to produce one-word responses, just like the example provided. And now, a few tips for teachers that should help prepare candidates for their OWL reading exam. Before tackling part 1, ask learners to look very carefully at the picture and statements provided so as not to risk giving a wrong answer. In case they change their mind, they should thoroughly rub out any previous wrong response. Train them in responding to similar tasks. You can use posters, large pictures, magazines, etc., and write your statements on the board or on a task sheet headed out. Regarding part 2, ask learners to first get the general idea of the text before they attempt filling in the gaps. When practicing, remind them to carefully read the options provided before they fill in any gap and give them sufficient time for it. Remind them they must copy the options they have selected correctly. When reaching part 3, ask learners to first get the general idea of the text before they attempt filling in the gaps. Remind them to carefully read the various options and give them sufficient time for it. Clarify that 2 words act as distractors and will not be used. Once again, remind them they must copy the options they have selected correctly. Lastly, before answering the questions set in part 4, ask learners to carefully look at the pictures provided, as they may help them better understand the short story they are presented with. Remind them they need to write one-word answers. Tell them to carefully check their spelling once they have completed the task. While practicing, remember you can use posters, large pictures, magazines, even storytelling, and ask similar comprehension questions. And now, a few more tips for teachers. Whenever needed, introduce an activity before getting into it. This will help learners feel even more confident. Make sure they are aware of the different parts of the reading exam. Train them in understanding and following instructions. Inform them that they do not have to produce long answers to the questions they will be asked, for example, in Part 4. Ensure that the expected question types have been sufficiently practiced in class. Foster a supportive atmosphere in class where they can feel comfortable to speak, and remind them that mistakes are a natural part of learning the language. Remember to provide feedback, that is, information details about how they performed after their reading tasks. This will once more encourage them and can be used as a basis for their reading skills improvement. While preparing your learners for their exam, praise them and encourage them. We hope that these tips will prove useful while you are training your learners. Don't forget to also refer to the support material we have created for you and for your learners. Thank you.